Mic check 1 2, microphone check. Hopefully the audio is working. I had some audio issues, so we had to go ahead and do a reset. I did not know. I saw you, Jason. I saw the message, and I'm like, oh my God. So hopefully I got it fixed. Hopefully everything is going through. We'll give it a minute, and then we'll do a restart. Once again, mic check 1 2, microphone check 1 2. Hopefully everything is getting through. All right, let's go ahead and get started.
Welcome to the Altcoin Hour, your weekly alpha. Yeah, we breaking down the charts, flipping bags, playing smart. From the dips to the moonshots, connecting all the dots. Let's get it. Altcoin now.
All right. So hopefully I got the audio. Everything is good, because I was talking for a pretty good bit, and I didn't have any audio coming out. So, welcome to the show once again. As we got a lot to talk about today. So as I was introducing, we're going to be looking at the market shifts as well. Big time liquidations, $150 billion worth of liquidated positions, guys. And this is, I'm talking entire 2025, the entire gamut. There's a lot of liquidations. Leverage is out of control, but you have some nasty things going on up top with the exchanges as well. Playing games with leverage. This is a real thing. So we'll talk about that. We're going to be talking about the trust wallet issue. Definitely going to get into Monad. I love Monad. That layer 1 is different. We're going to look. We're going to take a deep dive into the metrics, because there's so much FUD when it comes to this particular chain. It's ridiculous, and I believe it's because it took a lot of people by surprise, right? And I believe it's a threat. And we're going to be looking at these metrics because it's not dead. You got a lot of people saying this chain is dead. It's not dead. Some key updates we're going to get into. So we'll do a little deep dive into Monad here in a little bit and later in the show. But I want to talk about what's going on with Bitcoin. What's going on with Bitcoin. A little snapshot look at what's going on with the Trust Wallet, because I don't use Trust Wallet anymore. And I pretty much removed all of my Chrome extensions. When it comes to any type of desktop wallet, they're gone. I took all that off my desktop because I don't want any problems with that going into 2026, because the Trust Wallet situation, they knew about this in 2023. I had issues back then in 2023 with this particular wallet. That's why I don't use it anymore. And then all of a sudden you get this massive drain on Christmas Day, right? And it's pretty interesting what happened. We'll get into the actual investigations and what has come to be, because they're refunding everybody. Allegedly there's going to be some refunds. So obviously you have some scammers that are claiming that they were actually, the monies were taken from them. You got a lot of scams. So it's going to be tough for the legitimate, actual situations to actually get their money back because of the scams. There's going to be tons of scams that are going to be front running that whole refund situation with Trust Wallet. So hopefully you get your money back. But I would remove all those exchanges. The extensions that you have attached to your Chrome or whatever browser you're using. I don't care what it is. Just uninstall those wallet extensions. All right. Just use your wallet, your app stores, your particular applications are probably going to be safer at this point in time, because that is crazy. Lots of money that was stolen, but I digress. So we'll get into that a little bit later. We'll jump by the stock market as well. Silver is ripping. Gold is ripping. Palladium is ripping. Platinum is ripping. Copper is ripping. These metals are outperforming Bitcoin in the markets, and this is very bearish. There's nothing bullish about what I just said when it comes to the actual metals, because they're basically, expanding on the liquidity, the thin nature of liquidity across the board, global liquidity crisis. This is what my friend Steve Rocket Crypto, he was talking about for 2 years straight. This is where we're headed. 2 years ago, he was talking about this, and here we are. Liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. This is where it's at. And across the board, not even just within the actual crypto market, but we're talking across the board. Big time problems. We're going to be talking about that. I'm looking at some news here, not good. We may get into that in a little bit. Let's go and switch to the market. So as we actually jump into this, let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin. Hopefully you guys can hear me out there. Let's talk about Bitcoin and what's going on here. 87,000. We're definitely going to get into other news. XRP, the ledger update, the quantum resistance, which a lot of people are going to. The Polychain devs are doing quantum resistant protocol as well, which I think, you know, you're getting the carriage before the horse, but I think that's a good deal. I still think it's good because that quantum threat, although far off, maybe 15 years away, getting ready for that, I think it would be advantageous for you to do that, especially if you have an extravagant ecosystem like the Polychain ecosystem, which is probably going to be rebranded to another particular situation. From the way I understand it, enterprise focused situation, more centric, more niche down approach to the services that are going to be offered there. I believe you do need quantum resistance. You need some type of protocol, so you can be ready for that. XRP ledger. The XRPO has pushed that initiative as well. We're going to get into what they're doing as well, because I think going forward, a lot of the serious devs are going to be doing this. They're going to be trying very hard to make their platforms quantum resistant from the attacks, because I think the Bitcoin Foundation, they're going to be doing the same thing. In fact, they're working on that now. So let's go ahead and get into this countdown. We'll get into Altcoin wrap up, and then we'll get into that news, and we're going to jump in deep into Monad. Look at some metrics, look at what's going on with Monad, and I have some updates I want to report too when it comes to the new interjections, the new implementations when it comes to the ecosystem. What's really going on with Monad? And we're going to stop by, we're going to react to an actual show that was on a couple of days ago, Dragonfly, where you had the mention of Monad. This is why the price is really consolidating really hard. You've seen a really jump, a very high positive trajectory pattern within the Monad price point. You saw that. We're going to talk about why that happened, because it received a very nice endorsement on a pretty well-known show that was is probably all over the place right now, but we're going to get into it because the whole entire conversation involved ETH, Solana, that trade-off, and then the Monad situation that's kind of throwing a kink into this whole situation. Kind of blindsided a lot of people in devs with the success, the early success of it, because it's not dead. Now, Bitcoin obviously is not dead, but it's dealing with a lot of liquidative patterns. It's dealing with a lot of negative connotations. It's dealing with metal outperforming its actual performance itself. Bitcoin really pushed up really high a couple of months ago, guys. I think we eclipsed $123,000. Everybody was flying really high on Bitcoin, and then the proverbial doo-doo hit the fan. The trajectory is real. I'm going to zoom in on this because we did have a considerable drop in Bitcoin just 20 hours ago. And everybody was like, what is really going on with Bitcoin? Well, the Trust Wallet situation was that's $7 million worth of crypto, and a lot of Bitcoin was wrapped up into that. That hit the market as well. But a lot of this is liquidations. Within the past 24 hours, and I want to pull this up here, we're dealing with $244 million worth of Bitcoin that is out the door. Out the door. The largest liquidation was $14 million. Now you couple that with the bearish sentiment when it comes to all of these metals outperforming Bitcoin. You have a reduction in actual inflow on the retail level. Christmas numbers are going to be absolutely dreadful. When we get the 2025 Q4 financial reports from retail, I think it's going to start an overwhelming cascade of bankruptcies. This is going to affect the markets. Not only that, you're going to have a shutdown in January. You're going to have a government shutdown. And I think a lot of people are forgetting about that. That has not been rectified. Congress has dropped the ball on that. And then you're going to have a lackluster approach to the cryptocurrency legislation, the bills, crypto bill, market structure bill. That's not happening. The actual Clarity Act, that's not happening. They're pushing that 6 months down the road. So you're seeing a lot of conflicting evidence when it comes to crypto legislation on X and pretty much social media in general. Everybody's just lying through their pants on fire. This is what I like to call it. People are lying so much about this. Even a lot of the congressmen are lying about this. They don't know what to do with the Clarity Act. You have Senator Warren that's wanting a big time regulation against DeFi. And she's going to get it. she's putting a roadblock in front of the Clarity Act, along with other senators and congressmen as well. They want DeFi regulated very hard. This is a big issue, especially with Donald Trump and his particular involvements, the World Liberty Finance, the USD1, Pancake Swap. This is a big deal. That thing is going to you have to regulate DeFi. So that's going to change the game for not only the Trump bros and that particular endeavor, but DeFi in general. And a lot of the devs that are getting ready for this, they're keeping their ear to the wood. They understand what's going on in Congress. They're going to be the ones that are going to be the winners because they're going to have their protocols compliant. They're not going to be complacent. They're going to make sure they're listening to what's going on in Congress because, unfortunately, DeFi is about to be regulated very heavily because of the wild west potential that can actually bleed over into real world markets. We don't really want that, and I don't think I think a lot of you guys don't want that as well. We want this to have longevity. We want the crypto space to be vibrant and also safe, not only for us, but for the newcomers that are coming in and for the banking systems as well as going to be using this technology. We want this to be a safe situation. So be looking for a heavily regulated decentralized finance atmosphere coming to you real soon. This is what's up. But a lot of this is going to put a lot of this legislation on hold. This is the thing. And especially when the Congress and the government shuts down in January. That's the wall that nobody's talking about. And this is bearish for Bitcoin as well. Now, you couple that with the geopolitics, what's going on with Japan, what's going on in China as well. You have anti-language in the EU and the UK, crazy anti-language that still exists. MiCA, that particular language is very constrictive. It regulates crypto companies, not tokens and coins. It regulates the actual decentralized protocols and things as crypto companies, crypto service providers. So there are some issues there as well. All of this is very bearish for Bitcoin, along with the liquidations, along with all of the geopoliticals that are going on right now, along with all the reductive outflow. And the most important thing that no one's talking about is what makes markets move. And that's inflow, money. That money flow is so low right now. And a lot of what you're seeing that is actually making up the global market cap right now, which is roughly not where it should be. That's old money. The new money that's coming in is old as well. And that's your ETF funds. That's just old money, guys. So it's been very hard for this space to move over 3.2 or 3.5 trillion globally. That's the reason why we don't have new money in this space still to this day. Just a lot of old money recirculating, and a lot of it is being lost in the meme cycles. Not the meme cycles, but the actual meme arenas. Millions and millions. I think over $1 billion was lost in memes. I was looking at this the other day. In the meme coin sectors, you have over $1 billion that has been either lost or stolen, and when I say lost, I mean lost. It'll never be, it's kind of locked, right? But when you think about Pump, you think about Bonk, you think about all these launchers and all the scams that go on, a lot of money is lost, guys. And a lot of that money is actually extricated and actually removed from solidified platforms. That transfer of liquidity is lost and is cashed out. Because a lot of people are losing money. These scammers, they're not trying to recirculate that and reinvest that into Bitcoin. They're taking that home. They're cashing out and they're buying Lambos and things of this nature. They're not high quality investors. So that's $1 billion. That's very significant. So Bitcoin has a lot of sale pressure going on with it. It's consolidating at $87,000 right now, but how long is this going to hold? The thumbnail says buckle up. I believe that now is the time to buckle up. I believe now is the time to actually look at these solidified plays, these solidified sectors. And we're going to talk about that because everything is about to be tokenized. Everything is about to be tokenized. Believe that. You heard BlackRock, Larry Fink say this. Even Jim Cramer knows this, right? Donald Trump's World Liberty Finance, its main focus is to tokenize all of his assets, real estate, properties, things of that nature, data. This is why he's built. This is why that exists. Okay. This is why USD1 exists. Tokenization, baby. That thing is going to go bonkers. You want to be involved with the particular facilitators that are going to be actually, helping move this particular notion. And when it comes to decentralized applications that are going to be layered, wherever they're going to be layered, you're going to want to be implanted there because that volume is going to be absolutely out of control. Okay. This is coming. We'll look at the numbers here in a minute. And this is why I like Monad. This is why I like a lot of these new platforms that are coming out that are being built now because they're building now. If you're building now, you know exactly what to build. You know where the money is going to be. You know where the volume is going to be. Those monad developers, they know exactly what the money is going to be. This is why they built this chain the way they've built it. This is why it's taken off so early. I'm watching Paul chain devs because I'm pretty sure, and I know they know where to build and where to target. Execution. That's all you have to do. Execute. And you will build properly, and you know where to put your ecosystems to where they can actually thrive. And this is what a lot of these young devs are doing right now. And I think it's beautiful. As far as Bitcoin will never be that. And I think this is the problem with Bitcoin. People want Bitcoin to be a payment giant. It'll never be a payment giant. It's too slow. Okay, it's too antiquated for that. It takes too long for settlements. I don't think it'll ever be the king of tokenization. Too slow for that. Too antiquated. It is what it is. And I think we need to stop trying to make Bitcoin what it isn't. And this is the problem. We're trying to make Bitcoin be something that it will never be. Once we get over that, I think that's when Bitcoin will shine. We need to get it back to what it's for, what it was meant to be, a storage of wealth, right? It's great for that. But when you see these metals, when you see silver outperforming Bitcoin, gold, freaking copper, that should really raise your eyebrow when it comes to what's really going on. Because at the end of the day, Bitcoin is tethered to fiat at this point in time. And it's going to share that pain. And this is what you see. If you remove the ETFs, we're at probably $45,000 per Bitcoin. If it was not for the ETFs, this is where we would be. And if you look at, and I want to go to the ETFs, just look at this. Look at this reductive pattern. And we're talking about within a 30-day period. Consecutive outflow. Consecutive, even with an infusion of $458 million. Within the last 3 months, well over $250 million out the door with these Bitcoin ETFs. So this is pretty shaky as well. The ETF floor is very shaky, and this should really scare the pants out of all of you because this is the only thing that's holding up Bitcoin up to its 87 price point here. That's it right here. You're looking at it, ETF. You remove this and we're at 45 real quick. So let's just hope this holds. You look at the Ethereum situation. It's really, really bloody. Absolutely blood. $22 million lost last week when it comes to this particular fund. And this is holding up ETH as well. You take this away, ETH is at $1,500 easily. Easily at $1,500. That would be extremely bearish for you ETH stakers because there is absolutely no burn right now with ETH. And I'm not trying to be ultra bearish, but this is what's really going on. A lot of exodus. This is great for the newcomers though, because they know what not to do. ETH has a problem. Infrastructurally, big problem. Hopefully they're working on that. We'll see how that goes going into the new year. But ETH has a infrastructure problem. They have a speed problem. And they don't, and I would say they have a security issue because I'm looking at the hacks that have happened in the last 4 weeks. All of them were on the Ethereum protocol, the Ethereum mainnet. There, these particular DApps were, and I'm not saying it was ETH's fault, but that backbone that everybody leans on when they talk about ETH and this infrastructure of security. I don't think so. I'm looking at the data. So I don't know what the hell they did to this chain when they actually migrated, but it is not as secure as it was when it was POW. Clearly, because I'm looking at the numbers. I'm looking at these hacks on Ethereum, on these DeFi protocols. Crazy money lost. Front end hacks, bridge hacks, things of that nature. It's crazy. And then you have this trust wallet issue. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. It's crazy. Currently, Ethereum is at $2,900. We're going to get back to the countdown here. $2,900 for ETH, down 1% on a week period. Infrastructural issues have to be addressed there. BNB $832. CZ is on a warpath, and he's trying to minimize the actual, not only the optics of this trust wallet hack, but the affiliation. They're really trying to bring this down. We are going to pay for all the monies that has been lost. No problem, guys. Everything is okay. Trust wallet is fine. No, it is not. No, it is not. There's some big time issues with Trust Wallet. And now we know. A lot of you didn't know, but you lost everything. For those of you who woke up, that Christmas, it's a zero in your wallet. God bless you. Hopefully you get your money. $7 million lost totally. That had to be crazy. I don't use Trust Wallet anymore. I would not hold large amounts in any type of a hot wallet situation, not even on an exchange. I'm putting that in the cold wallet. But some of you don't trust cold wallets, which is really strange to me, but I get it. The thing, the situation that happened with Ledger earlier, I totally get it. I totally get it. I don't use Ledger Tech, but there are a lot of options out there, and I have no problem with cold. I really don't have any problem with hot wallets, but this is very scary what happened with Trust Wallet. I don't use desktop extensions, right? I did remove the ones that I did have, but they were dormant. I never used them, but I removed them just because of the security factor there, right? Just importing an address opens your whole computer up to hackers. And that was bridged through Trust Wallet. So this is a big deal. And CZ's out there really, really trying to put the fire out. Good luck. XRP $1.84. We're going to get into this Ledger update because I think quantum resistance is very important. And I think not only the blockchain devs are doing this for their ecosystem, XRP Ledger has implemented a form of quantum resistance as well. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Solana $121 down 4%. Tron 27, Dogecoin 12 cents. We have Cardano 34 cents, down almost 8%. Bitcoin Cash still just below $600, performing pretty well actually. Still not able to capture the full value of Bitcoin, but it's doing well. It's doing what it's supposed to do, right? Chainlink $12, still a good buy, down almost 4% on the 7-day period. Hyperliquid going through it. Everybody's really pissed off with what's going on with Hyperliquid. Those Hyper token holders, coin holders are very, very, very upset. I've been reading some crazy stuff about this. It's an interesting situation, but I digress from that. Monero is at $442, Zcash $443. Those two OG privacy protocols are very close to each other. Zcash ran real hard, but that was Arthur Hayes pumping it and dumping it. Now we're back to normality, still above $35 though. So you're still a winner in Zcash. Stellar 21 cents. We're going to wrap it up with Litecoin $76 and AVAX $12.36. We'll see what's up with AVAX later on in 2026. I have some really bold predicaments for AVAX, but hand clap for the market. We'll move on to the Trust Wallet. So most of you already know about this hidden script that was introduced into the Trust Wallet Chrome extension. It doesn't matter where you had it, you got hit, right? You woke up and you had $0. This is a very interesting situation here because you would think this would be safe, right? This is a JavaScript file. This thing, I don't know how they snuck this a lot. I've been reading a lot of stuff and a lot of people are saying this is internal. This was an internal situation. It wasn't an external, rogue situation. That it wasn't an intrusion. Allegedly, this was an internal situation. That is beyond disturbing. And it's crazy. Let's get into this just a little bit, and then we're going to flip to Monad. Hidden script caught harvesting private keys. This is very scary. As Trust Wallet issues emergency warning for Chrome users. Now, from what I've just heard, every particular browser has been affected. Now, forensics revealed a suspicious, got a little tongue tied there, suspicious JavaScript file in the extension that transmitted wallet secrets. And we're talking, C phrases and your private keys to an external host, forcing a frantic mandatory update to version 2.69. So apparently this particular JavaScript nasty keylogger, because it basically records your key logs as well, was implanted in this most recent upgrade. It was hijacked, right? And they didn't know anything. They didn't know about it. Now, again, allegedly this was internal. This is what I'm reading. New information I'm reading. They're finding out that this was an internal situation. It wasn't external. Somebody from within did this implant. They had to. It had to be within, allegedly. It was too slick. This is crazy. Now, Trust Wallet told users to disable the Chrome browser extension version 2.68, and hopefully you guys did that after the company acknowledged a security incident and pushed versions 2.69 and the actual December version as well, which is going to be the new one that hopefully you're using. If you're still, partaking, I would never use this again if I were you. This is following reports of massive wallet draining that went on the 24th. Now, according to the actual reports, their victims and researchers began flagging theft soon as 2.68 rolled out. As soon as this update was actually installed, it went to work. Early public tallies places lost at around $6 to $7 million plus, range across multiple exchanges, so you can actually quadruple this amount. It's probably going to be well over $20 million lost at the end of the day. A lot of people haven't even checked their wallet. They're still on vacation. The Chrome Web Store listings shows that Trust Wallet extensions version 2.69 as updated December 25th, 2025, anchoring the vendor's patch timing to the day of the incident, entered wider circulation at that point in time. Now, the same listings displayed about 1 million users. That frames a worst case ceiling for the reach. So well over 1 million users were affected here. Practical exposures hinge on how many people installed 2.68 and entered sensitive data while it was particularly active. Now, all you had to do was import an address or import a particular situation, and then that's what triggered this draining of your funds. Now, I will tell you this, guys. This is nasty. This is what they are not saying. This is why I wanted to get into this. If you were a victim and you imported, this is how you trigger this, and you imported a particular situation into this Trust wallet after this update, that linked wallet, the one that was imported, there is also in the tracers. So whatever you brought into the Trust wallet, it is affected as well. So if you imported an address from a Phantom wallet or a MetaMask wallet, that is actually susceptible to the draining as well. That information that's attached to that key that was imported, that situation is vulnerable as well. So this is a contagion, is what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's not just focused on Trust wallet. What that particular key that was imported, which triggered this, that actually there's a reverse effector to where if you brought a Phantom key into it, or if you brought a key that was that originated off of your MetaMask situation, that you're in trouble. And whatever that, and God forbid that's an extension as well, because there are going to be multiple wallets that are going to be drained going into 2026. This is not over. And this is what they're not telling you about this. If you have been affected by this, you need to remove everything from every wallet that you imported into this Trust wallet situation here. Because a lot of you move keys from different wallets. You may have a trader or a Telegram bot that's malfunctioning, and there's an exportation option to where you can actually get access to your funds. You usually move that to a different wallet. These keys are interchangeable, especially EVM keys. MetaMask is wide open because you can do SVM transfers on MetaMask now. So you may need to check your if that private key that you imported came from a MetaMask wallet, you might need to check your MetaMask as well. You may need to check your Phantom, your backpack, your SafePal. This is a contagion, and it's going to get worse. They're trying to actually condense the danger here, and they're trying to encapsulate it and say, oh, it's just, we're good. Everything is good. We're going to refund you. Send a ticket. It's just Trust wallet. We're good. We got a new update out. No problem. That's a bunch of BS. You better check your MetaMask. You better check your Phantom. Whatever those keys came from, whatever the actual origin of the key that you imported into your Trust wallet, you better backtrack, because that's infected as well. They know what's in that wallet as well. You're wide open. So this is really bad. And they're trying to minimize this. This is really bad, guys. So I would be moving all my assets to a cold wallet. If you were affected by this, I would stay far away from my MetaMask and my Phantom. I would remove all my actual extensions, and I would completely move everything off the hot wallet sectors into cold wallets until this kind of blows over. Now, if you were not affected, you're good. If you didn't import anything into this really bad update, you're good. Because they don't have a window into your wallet. They don't even know who you are at this point in time. They don't know what you got. But if you interacted with Trust wallet the last week or two, and you've imported private keys into the Trust Wallet application, be careful. That's all I'm saying. Be careful, because you will be affected, and it just takes time. You know, a scammer will kind of like just hawk you. A lot of these scammers will just watch you until they see something that they want, and then that's when they pounce on you and you lose it all. They may watch you for 6 months and not touch anything. They'll just let you trade and they'll just watch, and once they see a big win, let's say you hit it big on a coin or whatever, then that's when they pounce on you and they take you. So just be careful. This is a very nasty situation that happened here. And it's not just encapsulated and confined within the Trust Wallet situation. Anything that you imported into this, that particular extension, that private key, it's affected. And everything that comes with that private key, where it came from, whether it came from a MetaMask or a Phantom or a Telegram trading bot, it's affected, guys. Be careful, because a lot of people are about to lose more money. So I just want to talk about that. It's a crazy situation that's going on here. Moving right along, this is some breaking news coming out of XRP camp. I think this is really, really cool, and we're going to talk about this. XRPL flips to quantum safe signatures. This is very, very cool. Over 2,000 bytes of proof. It's going to replace the elliptic curve. Now, XRPL's quantum resistance update seeks to improve security while expanding DeFi opportunities on the main chain. So this is where we're going. And now you're going to see tokenized assets all over XRPL going into the future. The Dubai partnership when it comes to real estate is a big deal. I kind of figured they were going to do this because of all the tokenizations that are going to occur within the next 5 years. Ondu is probably going to do this as well. You got to protect that IP. You got to protect things. There's going to be massive amounts of volume when it comes to tokenized assets going into the next couple of years, guys. After legislation as well. Big time movement in the RWA arena. The XRP devs the ledger devs are getting ready for this. Now, let's get into this, because I mentioned Paul Chain. They're doing this as well. A lot of the Ondu, I'm pretty sure Ondu is going to be doing this as well, because they're going to be heavy in the tokenization field. AVAX, Solana, if they survive, they're going to have to do this as well. Now, I'll say this again, mind you, the quantum threat is 10 to 15 years off. There's really no threat at this point in time, but it wouldn't hurt to get ready for it. Yeah, plenty of time to get ready for it. But I will repeat, it is not a threat. It really is not a threat. We're 15 to 20 years away from that being an actual threat. And I just want to put that out there, because you got a lot of people saying, oh, it's around the corner. That's BS. That quantum threat is so far off. Nothing to worry about, guys. A lot of you it's nothing to worry about at this point in time. But it doesn't hurt to get ready for it. And I think it's pretty cool that they're doing this now, especially with the XRP ledger. Let's get into this a little bit, and then we're going to segue into Monad, because I'm going to do a deep dive into look at some metrics there, and we'll get into this interview where Monad was actually brought up, and this is what caused the actual inflow and really pumped the chart because of this exposure. And I thought it was really cool. We'll get into that now. The XRP. Let's get to this ledger update. This is crazy. The XRP ledger is ending the year with major technological developments after a year that saw it gain significant adoption and milestones, and no one cared. No one really cared about this, which is crazy, because if I'm holding XRP, I'm very happy about this, because this is the freaking ledger, man. And they're really doing some really, really cool. And this was after the actual CTO resigned. It's weird how all of this was expedited after he resigned, but I digress. I don't want to bring up anything negative. On December the 24th, Dennis Angel, a lead software engineer for the Ledger Labs, announced the integration of post-quantum cryptography and native smart contracts into AlphaNet, the project's public developer network. Now, most blockchain networks include Bitcoin and Ethereum. Secure users funds using elliptic curve cryptography, ECC. Now, this math works because current computers, there's a little deep dive into this, find it impossibly difficult to reverse the calculations and derive a private key from a public one. However, this security model relies on the limitations of classic physics, i.e. speed of computation. That changes when the quantum realm comes, because that speed is phenomenal, right? The computational aptitudes of quantum computing greatly outpace what you see now. This is why it's a serious threat. It's not here yet, but it's a serious threat. The antiquated systems of elliptic curve cryptography are not going to be able to keep up with quantum computing. This is why you see these transitions to elevate the security levels when it comes to quantum resistance. Now, let's continue. Quantum computers operate differently. They utilize qubits to perform calculations in multiple states simultaneously. All right, so we have a multitasking. We have speed, we have multitasking on another level. Computational, loads are not as tasking as they are now for the current systems. Now, experts predict that a sufficiently powerful quantum machine running Shores, which is an algorithm that's associated with this, will eventually solve ECC problems in seconds. Security agencies refer to this moment as Q-Day, unquote. So this is what we're doing with the ledger. This is what these guys are working on. This is what they're getting ready for. Quantum resistance, post-quantum cryptography is what they're calling it here. I think this is very, very cool. I believe this is something that, and I want to hand clap this. This is a good development. I think this is good. I think it's a beautiful development. Now, just a little bit more into it. The AlphaNet update directly targets this particular vulnerability that pretty much every chain has right now. Now, again, there is no viable quantum threat, but every particular situation, ecosystem, blockchain, DeFi protocols, dApps, they're all vulnerable at this point in time. Again, the threat is not here, but the vulnerabilities are real. Anybody that's doing this now, you're a winner. You're ahead of the game. And that's the good thing about this, right? Now, the actual lead developer confirmed that the network now runs a crystals dilithium. This is what they're running. Notably, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, it's going to be an NIST, is that acronym, recently standardized this particular algorithm. So this crystals dilithium is going to be a standardized algorithm going forward, known as the MLDSA, as a primary shield against quantum attacks. So there's a standard here. Just in case you didn't know it, there is a standard. I don't want to go too far because it's going to get really technical. So I'm not going to go any further with this, but there is a standard that has been set in the XRPL. The XRP ledger has taken the initiative to get ready for this. So hand clap for that. Let's do so. That's great. And I want to talk about that. I wanted to talk about that. Now let's go ahead and move to the Monad deep dive. I want to talk about Monad before I get out of here. This is, I love this particular chain. It's fantastic. Now we're going to stop by DeFi Llama because I want to take a look at this TVL. Right, up 3%. You can see the TVL curve is consolidating very, 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 very beautifully. And there's some upticks. There's some upward trajectory, and this is great. And we're going to get into an actual short video. And this is basically why you've seen the price increase. It got a really, really cool endorsement over the last couple of days. Very bullish for the platform. But not only that, we're going to get into some updates too, because this thing is rolling. TVL up almost 4%, guys. You can see the trajectory of this TVLs. Great. Stablecoin market cap almost $400 million. And mind you, this blockchain is 30 plus days old. It was launched in November, right? Went mainnet in November. This is a very young layer one that is doing things and putting up numbers that you really don't see in previous L1s that have been launched. A lot of the holders should be very happy about this, but then you have a lot of hating as well. You have a lot of posters on X and social media that are saying this is a dead chain. I could show you a dead chain. This is not a dead chain. It's 30 plus days old. So, I would expect TVL to be a little bit lower, but there's substance here, right? This thing was launched out of the bat with multiple decentralized applications, multiple actual use cases, multiple reasons to get involved as a developer and as a validator. By the way, 170 validators right now active. Very robust stack that we're working with. Unique chain. There's a lot that's going with this, but not only that, this thing is ripe for payments. Stablecoin activity, as you can see, almost $500 million worth of market cap there already within a 30-day plus period. All right, making money. Within the last 24 hours, almost $70,000 worth of application fees already registered. That's every 24 hours. This is a 30-day euro deployment. and this thing is already making money. It's already booming in TVL for its particular age, right? For its actual age, it's doing well. So it's not dead. I don't understand that logic. It's not dead. Now you can cherry pick and pick something and expand on it and sensationalize it on X. But if you really look at all these metrics in a whole, for a 30-day-old blockchain, layer 1, that has been launched within this bear market. And I know a lot of you don't think we're in a bear market, but we are. Been that way for months. We're literally in a recession. Been that way for months. But I digress from that. It's a whole nother video there. DEX volume is well over $80 million per 24-hour period, guys. This chain is doing wonderfully. Now, I want to get into some of these updates because this is where, and by the way, some of the sub metrics are pretty decent too. In the last 30 days, when it comes to speed, 22.6 is going to be the TPS within the last 30 days. Structurally is very sound, very cheap to interact with. On the highest, I think you're paying like 0.002 per transaction. Very, very cheap way of actually partaking. 30 days old though. I have to keep reiterating this. 170 validators across the board, very active. When you're looking at the actual TVL though, just south of 300 million. I think by the end of next year, this thing is going to be crazy when it comes to TVL. Because you have DeFi, you have gaming, you have NFTs, you have borrowing and lending, you have RWA infrastructure, payment infrastructure. Your stablecoin activity is here. You have everything that you're going to need going into the new paradigm, especially after language. Tokenized asset platforms. You have DApps that are ready for that. Prediction markets. That's another thing that we're going to listen to in this particular video. The prediction market, that is just starting to percolate. They're going to need facilitators going forward because there's going to be a lot of them, and not just with the betting, politics and things of that nature, insurance. There's a whole another realm of predictions that we haven't even seen yet that's going to land on chain. And I think chains like this are going to benefit from that going forward. 14 billion monad tokens staked within a 30-day period. It's crazy numbers. The actual price of this token is pretty decent too, at 2 cents. It's a great buy. Not financial advice. It's a great buy for what's going on here. These submetrics are crazy. When it comes to verified protocols, I'm talking across the board, and we'll get into those particular protocols. 139 and counting. This was validated and verified the last 6 hours. 139 verified protocols, and it's very diverse in the protocol nature with what's actually running on this chain. Very, very diverse. You have a little bit of everything going on this chain. This chain launched with this out of the box, and a lot of the DApps aren't even running that are going to be deployed. They're not even running yet, and you still have this particular facilitated activity going on this particular layer 1. It's pretty phenomenal. Now, a lot of the haters aren't going to go deep into this like I am, but I'm into the tech, and I'm into things that are new, devs that are building things that are going to be able to facilitate what's coming. They're ahead of the game. I'm sorry. And I think this is why this is a big time threat to a lot of devs. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of the hate, because the hate doesn't make sense. The negativity does not make sense. When I'm looking at these numbers, it just doesn't make sense at all. And I'll share this time. I'm looking at all these numbers. A lot of the hate just does not make sense, guys. It really doesn't, because they're not really digging deep into the metrics like I am here, right? This thing launched in November, November the 11th, I think. No, the 24th of November. Obviously, they skyrocket, and then a lot of the volume falls because of after the launch, a couple of days after the launch. But this thing is quietly consolidating, not only with DeFi volume, but with the money earned as well. And it's moving up. This TVL continues to go out. I know you guys see this graph. If you're looking at it, you can see the actual growth in TVL. Very consistent growth here. And this is just the start of it. I've never seen a layer 1 hit the ground running like this. I'm sorry. I've never seen this before. And I've looked back at a lot of numbers, okay, going back the last 6 years. This thing hit the ground running, so it's good. It's great for the holders. It's great for the developers. They continue to develop. We're going to get into some of the actual nuances of today's upgrades. But this is a phenomenal situation. Now, when it comes to the diversity of the actual ecosystem, it's pretty diverse, right? And you have some actual native platforms. You even have a crypto insurance platform that's actually running on this particular chain as well. Uniswap, Morpho, which Morpho is on like 30 chains. They're on Monad as well. Upshift. You have DeFi. You have borrowing and lending. I was telling you guys about that. You have an RWA infrastructure that's going to explode on as well. You have a very diverse, especially when it comes to decentralized finance, activities going on this particular situation. You have NFTs as well. And I know that market is it's not robust right now. It'll come back. But you have gaming too as well. You have that financial infrastructure. You have the tokenization, the RWA infrastructure that's going to be absolutely crazy going into the next 10 years. Long term. Like I always tell you guys, think long term. Now, some of these actual updates, I want to get to some. And by the way, let me get the, I want to get the actual chart up. Let's go ahead and get this actual chart while I go into this. Because it's relevant, because, you know, you got a lot of chart guys out there. 2 cents for the particular Monad situation. Great buy. Great buy. I think the chart looks beautiful. Now, this particular spike, we're going to talk about this spike in price because it received massive endorsement a couple of days ago. And a lot of people bought it. We'll get into that in a little bit. Now, as far as the updates, these are some of the key actual major updates when it comes to Monad. Now, Monad's ecosystem is in a rapid growth spike. Now, some of the DeFi integrations, Beefy Finance, which launched vaults recently, contributing significantly to the TVL. You have Folks Finance and Neverland Money Lending. There's that DeFi angle again. These yields are crazy, 37%. You know, that's kind of scary. But I have to tell you, it's real. You're getting 37% APY on your Monad if you stake this on this particular situation. It is a cross-chain utility. It's on 9 chains. So you have Folks Finance. That's contributing to the TVL as well. This is what I'm saying. This TVL is going to explode because these are high-quality decentralized applications that are being layered and being built on Monad. You have Gearbox protocol integrated by Chainlink. This is going to be a Chainlink price feed situation, which adds 12 integrations. That's going to be Gearbox protocol that has been integrated into Monad as well. Uniswap, yeah, it's on everything. I'm not even going to go there. That's pretty standard. Pingu Exchange, there's your exchange. You have exchange activity as well, decentralized exchange activity on Monad as well. You have it all. Atlantis DEX, stablecoin integrations like USD1 is on Monad as well. Eon. It's everything. You have everything with this particular situation. Lido and Symphony launched as well. Agentic funds have been launched. And then you have stablecoin neobanking as well. NFT and gaming atmosphere. You have that here as well. Only 30 plus days old and you have all of this activity already. And I got to tell you, the developers kit is sweet. And I think that's what's really, really cool about this. They've introduced and they've deployed and they've given this beautiful developers kit to the developers, which makes it very easy to cross over and to build on Monad. I think that's very important. Simplifying that bridge over is very important. And a lot of actual devs don't really think that way. They don't think simplicity. Sometimes complexity is good and sometimes it's not, especially if you're a new chain and you're trying to get a lot, garnership, a lot of development. You better make it very simple. You better make that bridge over very simple. So they've done that. Now you have Mongkong chain minting PFPs, and you have token matching as well. It's going to be NFTs. You have Mona Aliens, which I think you have some crazy staking APY with that situation. Hoolums, Monad, Punks. These are going to be your NFT situations. Yeah, they have it all for everybody. Social poker, RWA collectibles as well. You have your, again, RWA atmosphere. You have that, all right? And you have infrastructural tools too as well. You have your backpack. You have a newbie network, which is helps launch validator nodes on chain. That's part of that developers kit. Polymarket enabled as well, which is native on Monad deposit. You can use Monad on Polymarket. There's that integration. That's the volume for the coin. They've really dotted all the I's and crossed out all the T's. Now, again, everybody's, most people are going to find things to hate about everything. But I have to tell you, with this particular layer one, when we're talking about Monad, I think it's probably one of the best buys in the space right now. Now, financial advice, hands down, hands down. Now we're going to get into this endorsement because I think this is a pretty good reason why you've seen the actual trajectory of this price spike up. This thing, it spiked very hard. I'm pretty sure you can see that on the chart. We're going to get into this because there was some talk of Ethereum and Solana as well. And then you had Monad introduced into this conversation, which was introduced by someone who's very heavily invested in Monad, by the way. But this is a very interesting conversation. And we're going to pivot to this.
I don't even know enough about this to be dangerous, but we had Mooch on, and he wrote a book about Solana. Yeah. So I had to study for that, and I found it very interesting that there is a debate between Ethereum and Solana as to who will eventually be the ecosystem for, I don't know, even trading securities instantaneously through, I don't know, tokenization. Does one have an advantage? One's more secure, one's faster, one takes more nodes, one less nodes. You own both? So
we definitely own both. We're exposed to all ecosystems.
Do you think, can you pick one as being more advantageous? Will both of them survive and flourish?
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of demand, and I see a lot of demand coming in the future for block space, or essentially, the blockchains themselves, right? Most stablecoins today are on Ethereum. Ethereum is where a large amount of, call it the economic activity exists, what they call value locked. Right, but if you look at the trading volume, it's happening more on Solana, which is more optimized for that type of transaction flow and for low-cost transactions. And so I think we're going to see different use cases on different blockchains, and they're all going to
see. I want you to tell me which.
See, this is a conversation that I've had with multiple of other people that I talk to, friends and things of that nature when it comes to the blockchain. And LMFG always says you're going to need more than one blockchain. And I believe this is exactly what they're talking about here, about the use of multiple blockchains, blockchains that are centric in one area. And then you have these other ones, like you said, with Solana being very, very good at what it does. You have Ethereum, which is not going to go anywhere. It's going to be very, very good at whatever they're going to actually target, because we don't know, because infrastructurally it's a mess at this point in time. But you're going to need more than one chain. Now, one thing that I really got from this discussion is a lot of the outsiders, they really don't understand blockchain. They really don't understand the space. They don't understand cryptocurrency. They don't understand the actual nuances and the foundational, efforts of what these chains do and what they're building. And to me, that's still a problem, that educational gap. We got to bridge that. We really got to bridge that. Now, this guy, obviously, he's the head of an investment firm, but he knows what he's talking about, and these prediction markets are going to take off. But he's going to be bringing up Monad here in a little bit as well. But pay attention to the conversation. It's very interesting.
Which is Betamax and which is what was it, a VC? I want to know which is.
I think they're
which
they're,
is MySpace and which is Facebook.
No, they're both Facebook, right? So
they're both.
Yeah. There's a lot of room in this market, right? If you believe that most assets are going to be tokenized, if you believe that there's going to be significant amount of economic activity on chain.
By both Ethereum and Solana?
No, but if you just believe in that thesis, right? Like you can't just have one blockchain. Like one blockchain is not going to be able to scale large enough to be able to have that economic activity.
And why don't you believe some other technology emerges that's better?
Well, I mean, right now we've seen people do things like basically databases that are we're blockchains, but it's within our closed loop ecosystem. But if you want to say, okay, well, I'm JP Morgan and I'm going to have a tokenized deposit, right, which they do, right? But I want to interact with Goldman and I want to interact with Citi, but I want to do so in a manner where I want to bring them into my ecosystem. Goldman doesn't want to do that, right? They want to meet you somewhere in the middle, some other service provider.
No, I get it. I'm just wondering why we don't believe, in the same way that people thought that Bitcoin was actually going to be the blockchain mechanism for a while. Yeah. And then Ethereum came along and people said, that's a much more efficient, better version of this. And then all of a sudden people said, oh, there's this thing called Solana. That's actually even more efficient and a better version of this. I mean,
and you point out, and Kathy Wood lowered her eventual target based on Bitcoin not being as important, and these other things displacing.
And so that's my question. Hopefully technology gets better. So to believe for some reason that these guys and this particular blockchain has somehow cornered the market is something I don't really understand.
Listen, you know, that's the natural evolutionary pattern of pretty much technology. There's always going to be something better that's going to, it's going to move better. It's going to, especially, and I'll just keep this within the blockchain arena. It's going to be faster, more secure. It's going to move transactions quicker. It's going to be cheaper, right? It's just going to do it better. Bitcoin was never going to be, like I said earlier, what people wanted to be. It was just only going to be what it was supposed to be, what it was, the original premise. That's it. It's not going to be anything. It's not going to be a payment giant. It's not going to be a speed demon. It's not happening. So the natural order is to evolve. And this is what you've seen from Bitcoin to ETH, BNB, and then you see Solana. And then here comes Monad, which I think is going to pretty much trump them all. Now, what comes after Monad? There's definitely going to be another chain. This is the natural order of technology. There's always something that's going to be, be a whole lot better than what it has already exists. You can see this with the graphic card arena, the actual video cards that AI is using for computations. NVIDIA has to come out with a new card every 2 years because the previous card, after 2 years, it becomes redundant. It becomes obsolete. This is how, unfortunately, this is how tech is. So in comes, you had Solana, and it's crazy that it's already ran its course. That was pretty quick, Now you have Monad.
I agree with you. We're going to continue to see innovation at the blockchain level, right? So there's a new blockchain that just launched called Monad, which we're invested in. It's called Monad, which we're invested in, which is trying to be a Solana killer, right?
What's the symbol?
It's MON, Mon.
And what's it trading?
It's about a $2 billion valuation today.
No, but what's it cost for one?
What's it cost for one? It's like 0.002. So.
Sounds like an
That's right.
early investment.
That's in your price range.
Okay, what could go wrong there?
Well,
everything.
Yeah, with early, this is early stage technology, right? So the one thing that happens in crypto is people launch these tokens when they're still basically early stage companies, right? It's technology. We're going to continue to see.
Yeah, Monad is like 30 days old, 30 plus days. So it's going on a month and a half old. So, and they're very interested, as you can see. But here's the thing. This is what caused Monad's price to spike because of this type of exposure. Now, what he was saying is very true about the natural order and the natural evolutionary pattern of blockchain technology. If you've been in this space 10 years, you already see this. You already know. Look at what's going on with ETH. This is why ETH is in trouble, because they've chosen to be very complacent when it comes to those upgrades essentially. Solana is still quite new, but at the same time, I think it's ran its course because it got so heavily invested in memes. That's a double-edged sword, right? And we can see the other edge of that sword because they're getting sued. They're getting their pants sued off. The Burdock Law Group is on that ass. So we'll see how that goes. But then here comes Monad. Faster, cheaper, and basically hit the ground running with a lot of DApps. And you're getting this exposure now. So this is going to be very interesting to watch, the actual evolutionary pattern, the growth of Monad at the end of the day. It's going to be very interesting to watch. And we'll just have to see how this works out. So I think I'm going to end the show with that because that's pretty bullish for that particular group. Now, as far as news, you have gold, $4,500, man. Silver is crushing. Copper is crushing. What happens to bonds? What happens to the stock market when metals just continue to roll into the 2026 season? What happens when we get those fourth quarter reports, guys? 2025 fourth quarter retail reports in 2026. I don't think they're going to even allow that to be actually reported and published because it's going to be very, very bad. And it could actually induce a massive recession because people are losing their jobs like crazy right now. A lot of the inflow is not coming in, not only in the stock market, but currently when it comes to cryptocurrency inflow, it's all ETFs. Bitcoin is sliding down to $86,000. And we'll just have to see what's going to happen. I will tell you this, it's all about the money flow. Always remember that. And that is subsiding, guys. That's the bad part about it. It is subsiding. People are pulling back. They're being very restrictive. And not only when it comes to investing, but in the real life, in the real world, outside of our digital arena. People just don't have it. So usually that causes a very, very hard regressive pullback. And that's what you're going to see here. And if they don't get the government back up, if we get a long elongated shutdown going into 2026. The bottom could come out from under Bitcoin. It could cave, and the ETFs could cave as well. So with that being said, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you on the next show.